Ryan and Sarah met one sunny afternoon in Central Park. Ryan was an outgoing man, always wearing a bright smile. He had a love for adventure and enjoyed trying new things. He worked as a graphic designer and often found joy in doodling ideas on paper. Sarah, on the other hand, was more reserved but had a warmth that drew people in. She was a passionate teacher who loved to inspire her students with stories. Though they had different personalities, their connection was immediate. Ryan admired Sarah's kind heart and her ability to see the good in everyone around her. He felt at ease with her, surrounded by a sense of calm he had rarely known. Sarah appreciated Ryan's energy and creativity. He made her laugh and helped her step outside her comfort zone. They spent hours talking about their dreams and sharing little pieces of their lives. Each conversation brought them closer, building a strong emotional bond. As their relationship blossomed, they faced the challenge of understanding each other's feelings better. Ryan sometimes felt that Sarah's reserved nature made it hard for her to voice her concerns. Sarah, however, feared that Ryan's adventurous spirit might lead him away from the deeper connection they were building. They both knew that growing together would require open hearts and honest communication, laying the groundwork for the journey ahead. As spring turned to summer, Ryan and Sarah faced their first real struggle. It began when Ryan took on a big project at work that kept him late. He was excited about his job but didn't notice how it began to affect Sarah. She started feeling a change in their relationship. Ryan would come home tired and distracted, often lost in thoughts about deadlines and designs. When he finally did sit down with Sarah, he seemed distant, like he was somewhere else entirely. At first, Sarah tried to be understanding. She knew how much this project meant to Ryan, but she also craved his attention. It hurt to feel disconnected from him. When they watched TV together, she noticed he wasn't really focused. His eyes roamed around the room instead of meeting hers. Sarah began to question if something was wrong with her. Was she not interesting enough for Ryan? One evening, with a heavy heart, Sarah decided to talk to him. "Ryan," she began, softening her voice. "I feel like we don't connect anymore. You seem so far away. I miss us." Ryan looked surprised. "What do you mean?" "I'm right here," he replied, momentarily confused. His tired eyes didn't mask the warmth he had for her, but Sarah could sense a wall between them. Sarah found it hard to explain what she felt. "When you come home, it's like you're not really with me. I wish we could spend more time together." Ryan's heart sank. He hadn't realized how much his work affected her. He was trying to balance his job and their relationship, but now he saw the stress he caused. "I'm sorry, Sarah. I didn't mean to make you feel that way. I thought if I worked hard, we could have a better life." His voice carried regret. "I didn't notice I was pulling away from you." Still, Sarah felt the weight of misunderstanding. "It's not that simple," she replied gently, her lips trembling. "I just want you to listen when I'm talking. I want to feel important, too." Ryan nodded, but the misunderstanding remained, a subtle crack in their emotional bond. While Ryan wished to assure her, his words often didn't match what his heart wanted to say. As days passed, tensions lingered. They carried on with daily tasks, but a quiet worry built up inside Sarah. Ryan noticed silence more than usual in their conversations, and it worried him. He thought about calling her more during the day to check in, but self-doubt crept in. What if she didn't want to hear from him? What if he only piled on more pressure with his work problems? Sarah yearned for small moments where they could reconnect, just sharing a cup of tea or a sunset walk in the park. But every time Ryan powered through work thoughts, he hesitated to reach out. The space between them grew filled with unspoken words and silent touches. They both wanted to talk, but how did one voice feelings that seemed tangled and confusing? In their minds, self-doubt began to spin a web of worries. Could they navigate this challenge together? As the flowers bloomed and the days grew longer, they faced the difficulty of rising from a place of uncertainty, building the courage to connect. Yet, both held a stubborn hope that love would guide them through. The summer sun shone brightly, but within Ryan and Sarah's hearts, shadows loomed. One evening, they attended a party hosted by Ryan's coworker, Jess. At first, Sarah felt excited to see Ryan in his element, mingling and laughing. But as she watched him interact with Jess, a twinge of unease formed in her chest. Jess was charming, funny, and seemingly drawn to Ryan's creative stories. Sarah's thoughts raced, and she could feel jealousy creeping in quietly, like an uninvited guest. Ryan noticed Sarah's tightened smile and sensed that her heart wasn't fully there with him. During an animated conversation about work, he caught himself laughing at Jess's jokes and momentarily forgot the worry that clouded Sarah's heart. Later that evening, as they drove home, unease loomed in the air. The drive was silent, and tension twisted around them like a heavy fog. "Did you enjoy the party?" Ryan asked, but he could feel the chill in Sarah's response. "Yeah, it was nice, I guess," she replied coldly, looking out the window. She felt ashamed of the jealousy bubbling inside her. How could she feel this way about someone Ryan merely worked with? Ryan, unaware of the storm brewing, continued, "Jess had some great ideas for the project. I really liked collaborating with her." Sarah's heart sank. "Oh, really? You've been talking about your work a lot lately," she said softly, maintaining an effort to stay calm. But the words felt heavy on her tongue. The more he talked, the more her insecurities rose. "Jess just understands design so well," Ryan went on, trying to share. But the light in Sarah's eyes dimmed. "It sounds like you really enjoy working with her," she replied, masking her growing concerns behind a tight smile. Ryan felt a twist in his stomach. "Are you jealous?" He was surprised by his own honesty as he probed. The hurt rose in Sarah. "No, I'm not," she snapped, realizing her voice broke. She pulled back. "I just want you to remember I'm right here. I miss you even when you're physically present." Vulnerability broke through, making her voice tremble. Ryan was taken aback. "I never meant to make you feel alone. I just share what's happening at work. You don't have to feel this way." Their emotions clashed like stormy waves against a cliff. Instead of resolving the unspoken feelings, they each withdrew into themselves. Ryan felt frustrated by Sarah's dismissive tone, while Sarah felt stung by Ryan's inability to notice her discomfort. A few days passed, filled with simmering tension. They avoided eye contact and tiptoed around each other's feelings. At times, Sarah would leave the room when Ryan was on a call with Jess. She felt silly for worrying, yet she couldn't help it. Ryan, feeling stuck, often buried himself in his work, trying to shake off the storm brewing between them, but each day brought back waves of shame and frustration. Inside, they both desired to work through the misunderstandings. But the weight of emotional wounds kept them from finding a way back to each other, and unresolved feelings grew between them. Their hearts wanted to connect, but insecurities and misunderstandings held them apart, raising the stakes in their delicate relationship. As summer's subtlety began to fade, Ryan and Sarah stood teetering at a fork, unsure how to navigate the next step forward. One quiet evening, the atmosphere at Ryan and Sarah's home felt unusually heavy. They had just finished dinner, but neither felt like talking. Ryan picked at his plate while Sarah tapped her fingers on the table. The silence stretched longer than usual, making both of them anxious. Finally, Sarah broke the stillness. "Can we talk about things?" Her voice was soft, but the tension behind it was evident. Ryan looked up, wary. "About what?" he asked, sensing trouble. "About us, Ryan. I feel like we aren't connecting anymore. You seem lost in your own world." His initial reaction was defensive. "I'm busy with work." "I thought you understood that." Ryan's tone was sharper than he intended. Sarah felt a sting from his words. "This isn't just about work. You've been avoiding me, and I need your attention. You need to see how I feel." Ryan felt an unwanted flush of frustration. "Maybe if you were more supportive about my job, I could focus better. Instead, you always bring me down." He didn't mean to direct his frustration at her, but the words slipped out, fueled by anger. "Supportive? You don't even see me anymore." Sarah shot back, her voice wavering with emotion. "You talk about your work, and it feels like that is all that matters to you. I feel invisible." Hot tears began to form in her eyes. Maybe you should just try to be happy for me. I'm doing this for us. Ryan argued, his heart racing. As he voiced his feelings, he felt lost in the exchange, as though they were going around in circles. I don't need to be happy from the sidelines. Suddenly, the conversation turned into a storm of feelings they both struggled to contain. So it's my fault? Sarah yelled, catching Ryan off guard. I brought this all on myself? It feels like you never listen. The bitterness hung in the air, and both of them could feel the growing rift. Ryan clenched his fists, grappling with the pain of misunderstanding. You just don't get it, he said, raising his voice. My work is a big part of who I am. That might be true, Sarah replied, her voice trembling, but you forget that I'm part of your life too. I want to share it with you. I want to be important to you, just like your job. The hurt in her voice pierced through Ryan's frustration. He didn't want to admit it, but part of him felt guilty for not realizing how far apart they had drifted. Yet, the words he used felt irreversible. So what do you want me to do? Ryan asked, his expression a mixture of anger and confusion. Am I supposed to choose between work and you? Sarah felt the weight of his question hang in the air like a dark cloud. That's not fair. I never asked for that, she replied, her tears spilling over now. I just want us to be together again like we were. I miss you. Their voices grew louder, filled with raw emotions that neither could control. Past disagreements flared up like a volcano, anger, sadness, and sheer frustration clashed around them. Both of them felt a wave of confusion, caught between love and the pain of miscommunication. As the intensity of their words echoed in the silence of their home, they both realized they were standing on a shaky foundation. With stark vulnerability and heavy feelings unveiled, the struggle laid bare everything they feared most. That night, Ryan sat on the edge of his bed, the door closed to the world outside. The earlier arguments echoed in his mind, each word like a pebble thrown into still water, creating ripples of regret that spread further than he anticipated. How had their conversation spiraled into such sadness? He grabbed his journal from the nightstand and began to write. Pouring his feelings onto the page felt liberating yet heavy at the same time. I was frustrated, he wrote slowly. But I didn't have to lash out. Sarah feels neglected. I've been so focused on my work that I forgot how much she means to me. Each sentence forced Ryan to confront the truth he had avoided. He could feel the warmth leave their relationship slowly because he hadn't given Sarah the understanding and support she needed. He paused, thoughts swirling in his mind. The memory of her tear-streaked face played in a loop. What if she leaves, he worried. Right at that moment, fear wrapped its cold fingers around his heart. Losing Sarah felt unbearable. He knew he needed to change and find a way to show her that their relationship mattered as much as his work. Across town, Sarah sank into her favorite chair with a steaming cup of tea, feeling both lost and small. The spiral of their argument weighed heavily on her heart. As she flipped through her old journal, passages echoed moments when their love felt full and bright. Now, those moments seemed painfully distant. Did I push him away? She wondered silently, frustratingly paging through her thoughts. Connecting the pieces of their arguments revealed her part in the misunderstanding. Sarah's own insecurities, rooted in jealousy, had not only hurt Ryan but had also clouded her perspective. Deep down, she reached for the notion that the affection they shared could flicker back to life if she took responsibility for her feelings. What if I lose him? The fear crept closer, whispering in her ear. Ever since that party, the image of Ryan laughing with Jess haunted her heart. But as she thought it over, the realization started to dawn. Ryan might not even notice the distance developing because he'd been juggling too much on his plate. Just like her, he needed reassurance, not blame. With this insight, she decided to record her thoughts in the journal too. We both need each other. It's tough right now, but it can get better, she penned, feeling a little flicker of hope. Writing helped ease the storm inside her. Next time, I'll try to be more open about my feelings. I have to let him know I need him. Hours later, lying awake, both Ryan and Sarah replayed fragments of their conversation, dissecting the words shared in anger. They recognized their emotional needs, two hearts longing for connection, but wrapped in fear and frustration. It struck them like a bolt of lightning that without action, the relationship they both cherished might drift into the shadows. "I want to navigate this together," Ryan scribbled, determination forming on his paper. Nearby, Sarah's heart filled with resolve as she wrote, "I can be brave. We can find our way back." Each separated moment began weaving the fabric for healing. They were faithfully turning toward a new path, but only if they embraced the changes ahead of them. The following day, both Ryan and Sarah awoke with a sense of exhaustion, but also determination. Neither could shake off the feelings of hurt from their argument, but now they felt a deeper understanding laid bare within their hearts. Ryan, knowing he had to reach out first, took a deep breath as he picked up his phone. He opened a text message window to Sarah, hesitated, then decided to call instead. Hearing her voice would help him find the right words. "Hey, Sarah," he said as she answered, trying to keep his tone gentle. "Can we talk?" "Yeah," Sarah replied, her voice a soft mix of nervousness and hope. They agreed to meet at their favorite cafe, a place filled with memories of laughter and light, a little haven amidst their current storm. When they sat across from each other, the air buzzed with unspoken things. Ryan finally spoke up, "I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you yesterday. I let my frustrations get the better of me." His voice was steady, but inside, he felt vulnerable as he watched her reaction. "I'm sorry too," Sarah said, meeting his gaze. "I let my jealousy cloud my feelings and couldn't express my worries properly. I didn't mean to push you away." An immediate weight lifted from their shoulders like the first rays of sunlight breaking through clouds. It was a small step, but one that felt monumental. They talked more openly this time, words flowing with honesty. Ideas shared without fear of conflict. Ryan shared how overwhelmed he felt with work, realizing he hadn't communicated that clearly to her. In turn, Sarah expressed her hopes of connecting more deeply, shedding light on her own insecurities. Throughout their conversation, they decided it was important to establish a new way of communicating. "What if we had a weekly check-in?" Ryan suggested, eager to create a safe space for both of them to talk. "During that time, we can share anything that concerns us, without interruptions." "I love that idea. This way, I can stop bottling up my feelings," Sarah replied excitedly. "And it'll be a time for both of us to express our needs." They spent the rest of their time together brainstorming methods to strengthen their connection. Simple gestures, like sending each other encouraging texts throughout the day or planning small weekly adventures, became topics of hopeful conversation. They found joy in each idea and inspired one another. In the following weeks, Ryan and Sarah decided together to look for resources that could help them navigate their emotional challenges. They searched online for books about relationships and even discussed the option of attending a workshop. Both agreed that a third-party perspective could help. Purposeful change began. Doors previously shut started to crack open. One afternoon, while browsing through a bookstore, they stumbled upon a book about communication techniques. Sarah held the book in her hands, looking at Ryan, who nodded encouragingly. The spark in Sarah's eyes brightened as she whispered, "This could be helpful. Let's dive into this together." As they began to take action to heal, a shared commitment grew within them. They recognized that the beauty of their relationship was worth fighting for, the connection too special to lose. Holding hands, they left the bookstore with more than just pages. They took steps to build a future grounded in respect, love, and better communication. Each action was a stitch fastening the bond they had realized they could nurture anew. As the weeks passed, Ryan and Sarah began implementing the changes they had discussed. They set aside time each Sunday for their weekly check-in, determined to keep the lines of communication open. At first, it felt a little awkward. Neither of them was used to such honest conversations about feelings, but they both approached it with a hopeful spirit. During the first check-in, they sat on their couch, nervously sipping tea. "Okay, we can do this," Ryan said, attempting to lighten the mood. "I'm not going to bite, I promise." Sarah chuckled softly but felt butterflies in her stomach. Ryan started, "So, I've been feeling a bit anxious about my work project. I think I need to be better about sharing my stressors with you." It was a step, but Ryan felt exposed as he spoke. Opening up felt different than he anticipated. "I appreciate you saying that," Sarah replied, glad to hear him vocalize his struggles. "I want you to know it's okay to be stressed. I'm here to support you." However, inside she wrestled her old fears about being left out. Yet the honesty enveloped her like a warm blanket. As the weeks moved forward, they also made little efforts to express love and affection throughout the day. Ryan started sending Sarah sweet texts during lunch, little notes letting her know he cared. Some days, he would surprise her with her favorite coffee. Meanwhile, Sarah would leave him loving sticky notes in unexpected places, like on his computer, to brighten his workday. Still, there were moments of awkwardness. Sarah sometimes struggled with letting her insecurities fade. One evening while watching TV, Ryan noticed her fidgeting. "What's on your mind?" he asked, gently. "I'm just thinking about when we argued. I still worry sometimes that you'll become too busy for me," Sarah confessed, feeling vulnerable as she revealed her thoughts. Ryan nodded, acknowledging her feelings. "I get that. I also worry I'll fall back into old habits," he admitted. "Changing this takes time, but it's important to me that we're in this together." They both took a deep breath, willing to face the old patterns that still haunted them. There were days when Ryan slipped back into being consumed by his work. He would catch himself almost forgetting to check in with Sarah after a long day. Several times, it frustrated her, and during one conversation it nearly led to an argument. "I feel like you're slipping again," Sarah said one Sunday, her voice thick with emotion. "I need to feel more present from you." Feeling slighted stirred familiar emotions for her. "I'm sorry," Ryan replied, sincere but also fighting his own fears of disappointment. "I truly don't mean to. I want to be better, but sometimes I forget that connection is needed too." The admission was raw and vulnerable. After their silliness would fade, Sarah would express her love for him. "I see you trying, and I appreciate it, really. But we just need to keep talking," she reassured while taking his hand. Through these moments, Ryan began leaning more into vulnerability. With each awkward step, they started breaking the walls built by resentment and communication lapses. They each began to see that adjustment was painful yet necessary. Their shared journey became nurturing rather than draining, planting seeds of growth in the once desolate garden of their emotions. Hope flickered again, like sunshine breaking through clouds. Each change became tangible, like pieces fitting back into a puzzle, guiding them closer toward letting go of the past and embracing their renewed bond. One breezy autumn evening, Ryan and Sarah found themselves at the park, surrounded by the vibrant colors of fall. With leaves drifting gently down around them, they strolled along hand in hand, their earlier struggles fresh in their minds but their hearts lighter. The air felt filled with potential, each step forward echoing a new beginning. They decided to sit on a bench under a large oak tree, its leaves swirling in a dance of orange and yellow. Ryan turned to Sarah, his eyes breaking into a warm smile. "You know, this feels nice," he said, taking a moment to appreciate the beauty of the moment. "Yeah," Sarah agreed, content to be together. "I love this time of year. It always reminds me of fresh starts." As she spoke, Ryan looked deeply into her eyes, sensing how far they had come. "Can we talk?" Ryan asked, sensing a deeper connection forming in the peaceful atmosphere. "I've been thinking a lot about everything we've been through and how we've grown." Sarah nodded, intrigued and ready to engage. "I agree," she replied, her voice steady but soft. "I feel like we're figuring it out together. There had been so much uncertainty before, but now it feels different." Ryan took a deep breath, allowing the calmness of the moment to surround him. "I've realized that being open with you makes me feel stronger. For so long, I thought I had to handle everything alone. This partnership means so much more now, knowing we can share the weight." Sarah felt warmth spread through her chest. "That's exactly how I feel," she said. "Being able to share my worries and hear your stress has built a bond one didn't expect. I used to feel alone in my sadness, but now I know we can lean on each other." As they spoke, the vulnerability they shared felt safe, a bubble that shielded them from doubts and fears. They began to share stories of their childhoods, conditions that shaped their thoughts and emotions. Laughing and smiling, they opened up about moments from their past that shaped them into who they are today. "I was afraid to trust during my first relationships," Sarah admitted, her gaze shifting to the sky. That fear made me hold back my feelings with you. Ryan nodded, understanding now where she had been coming from. I get that. I felt overwhelmed with work and didn't want to burden you. But now I understand that sharing that burden is part of being together. As Ryan explored his own thoughts further, he realized, I think our past experiences led us to be stronger together than we could be alone. We hold each other up, and that brings hope. Their conversation deepened, emotions rising to the surface like the sun finally piercing through clouds. Both felt lighter as they connected, embracing the shifting currents that bound them closer. Each word from their mouths emphasized the understanding and intimacy they were building anew. They reminded each other of cherished moments, shared passions, and the beauty in dependence without losing identity. That autumn evening in the park became a pivotal moment, a defining layer added to their relationship. They both recognized that they could unveil their thoughts without fear of judgment. Glancing at each other, a profound sense of safety encased them. Trust was thriving again, creating a comforting space where their hearts grew intertwined. In being fully present with one another, they not only celebrated the connection but also cherished the lessons learned. The shared experience lifted their spirits and made the path forward appear clearer than ever before. Each moment soaked in warmth wrapped around them like a cozy blanket, nurturing a love thriving in newfound understanding. Several months had passed since Ryan and Sarah began to reshape their relationship. The air had shifted from tension to deep understanding, and both were changed for the better. One sunny afternoon, the couple sat together at their favorite cafe, sipping lattes and sharing a slice of carrot cake. The warmth of the day wrapped around them like a soft hug. As Ryan looked at Sarah, he smiled, his heart feeling fuller than it had in a long time. You know, I feel like we're really in a good place now, he said, savoring each word. We've faced some challenges, but I think we've both grown stronger. Sarah returned his smile, her eyes sparkling. Absolutely. I never imagined we'd overcome all of that the way we did. It feels good to know we can talk about anything. They shared a moment of gratitude, reflecting on how their journey had transformed them. They had learned the importance of communicating openly and having patience with each other. Through vulnerability, they grew closer, and the deep connection they had forged now felt unbreakable. As they finished their dessert, Ryan pulled out a small notebook from his bag. He placed it in front of Sarah with a playful grin. I thought we could start a new project together, he suggested, excitement tinging his voice. Curious, Sarah opened the notebook to find it filled with ideas for goals they could accomplish as a couple. Planning a weekend hike, writing down our dreams, and trying new recipes. This is wonderful, she exclaimed, feeling her heart flutter with anticipation. A surge of hope filled the air as they both realized that their relationship was now a partnership that thrived on growth and collaboration. I wanted us to have something to work toward together, Ryan added sheepishly. This symbolizes how we can embrace life side by side. Sarah's chest swelled with affection for him, and she reached across the table, squeezing his hand. This is perfect, just like you. I can't wait to dive into this project. In that moment, it felt like they were solidifying their commitment to build not just a relationship but a life filled with shared experiences and dreams. Later that week, they took their first steps towards their goals by going on a weekend hike, surrounded by nature and each other. As they hiked the winding trails, each step felt heavier but lighter at the same time. They laughed, shared stories, and enjoyed being present with one another. Every challenge the path presented felt less daunting because they faced it together. Standing at the peak of the hill, they took a moment to breathe in the beauty around them. The view stretched out across valleys and mountains, a vibrant reminder of the journey they had undertaken. Sharing that view, Sarah leaned into Ryan, resting her head on his shoulder. This is just the beginning, isn't it? She whispered, knowing well that this was true. Ryan smiled, enveloped by the warmth of her words. Yes, it is. I'm excited for everything we'll create together. From that day forward, they placed their trust in each other openly and found hope illuminating their path. With every shared dream and new experience, they fulfilled the promise they made during their deepest struggles. Each action reflected how they had come to appreciate the strength of believing in one another. Life was not without challenges, but they were ready to face whatever came their way. Unity and love had emerged as soft lights guiding them forward. With eyes shining with purpose, they continued to pour their hearts into one another, confident that together, they could navigate any storm that life brought. Their journey had taught them invaluable lessons about trust, communication, and shared goals, echoing the promise that love could truly transform. The future stretched eagerly before them, a tapestry waiting to be woven one bright moment at a time.